Namaste everyone. Welcome to the 27th session in Taittareeya Upanishad. Again, the reminder that I've been doing, which is all the replays are available. So if you're eager to catch up on the replays, they're available in Clubhouse. If you go back to the house and look at the replays, or you can go to Advaita Retold, and these are being uploaded in the YouTube channel, Advaita Retold. I'll pin the text for this particular Upanishad up here, and then I'll also paste a link to the 8 Upanishads in the chat. Yes, over to you, Bindoji. Let's start.
Yeah, the chat and the hand raising will be off during the period of the class. Okay, thank you, Prakash. Let us start. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Halayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayinam Sutrabhashi Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shanti Mantram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are on to the second chapter of Taittareeya Upanishad called Brahmanandavalli. In that we are subsection 6 called Anuvaka 6. Asanneva sabhavati asad brahmedi veda ched asti brahmedi ched veda santameno tato viduriti tasyesha eva sharira atma yah purvasya athato anuprasnaha uta vidwanamum lokam pretya kaschana gacchati aho vidwan amum lokam pretya kaschit samasnuta so kamayata bahusyam prajayeti sa satapo tapyata sa satapat taptva idam sarvam asrujata yadidam kinja tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat tadevanupravisya satchatyacha bhavat niruktam cha nilayanam cha Vijnanam cha satyam cha nrtam cha satyam abhavat yatidam kincha tat satyamittya chakshate tatapyesha sloko bhavati. This is the Shashtamanuvak which we are going on since the last 3-4 classes. So where we entered in the last one was we knew that tapatat taptva sarvam asarjat. He became everything. Yatitam kincha, yat kincham avashishtam, tat ishtam jagat srishtva. So having created this world, kim akarot iti uchyate, tadeva srishtva jagat tat anupravisyati iti. So having created the world in the names and forms, Brahman, tad means Brahman, tad eva, that indeed, Jagat tadeva anupravishat. Tat eva means that idam jagat sarvam. Sarvam jagat. Anupravishati means he enters it. Now, this in today's session, it is the question answer format between a Purva Pakshi and Siddhanti. The Purva Pakshi is trying to define what is the meaning that can be derived from the Upanishadic word Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. Having created, tadevanupravisat means that indeed into that. Anupravisat means entered. This is the literal meaning. Now, Brahman sarvam srishtva, sarvam asrijata means srishtavan Brahman. Brahman having created everything in the names and forms. Tadeva anupravisat, that Brahman alone entered everything is the literal meaning of it. How can that be understood? By listening to these words is what is being discussed in today's complete episode. Here you will find all type of philosophies are being represented in the Purvapakshi. It is only one Purvapakshi, don't think that way. It can be many Purvapakshis or the opponents who are asking different questions and answered by Siddhanti means Acharya Shankara himself. He is answering to them why their philosophies, which means having created the world, Brahman entered the world, is not to be understood the way it is. At the end of it, in the next class, we will be describing what is the Advaitins' explanation to that. So let us see what are the type of questions which can come from other philosophies. I'm not going to name the philosophies because that's not important. But the questions are important. Tatra etat chintyam. Here, tatra means in this particular juncture, etat chintyam, it has to be thought in this, about it. What? Katham anupravisat iti. How did, katham means how, anupravisat, entering. How does the entering take place? So, here we have to two things. Brahman is the one who has created the names and forms in the form of world. What we are experiencing as Jagat or the world, the universe. And the Upanishad says that having created the world, it enters the world of names and forms. Now, how did he enter is the dialogue which is going to take place. Kim yaha srashta saha tena eva atmana anupravishat uta anyena iti. Kim means it's a question. Is it not? Sa srashta, that's creator. Sa tena eva, he by himself. Atmana anupravishat, his own nature, by its own nature, entered. Uta anyena iti, or is it by somebody else? Kim tavad yuktam. Here what is the one which is logically right? Reason being, tva pratyaya shravanat yaha srishtaha saha eva anupravisat iti. Now srishtva, there is a suffix to that, srisht. Srij is the dhatu, so it becomes srisht. Tva, like that work. That is called the kwa pratyaya. Tva pratyaya. Tva pratyaya is used in Sanskrit language to indicate a prior action which is mandatory required for the subsequent action. They are connected because the prior action is necessary for the subsequent action. And for both the actions, the subject has to be the same. Only he having had meals got up. So having had the meals is the what is by the tva pratyaya here. So having created, anupravishati means entered. So having created, entered means both the activities are to be done by the same karta or the subject. So it has to be the one and only one Brahman which is being referred here. So Brahman having created the world, entered the world. Nanu na yuktam mritvat chet karanam brahma tadatmakatvat karyasya karanam eva hi no tat yuktam karanam pravishyati karanam eva hi karyatmana परिणमते अतः अप्रविष्टस्य एव कार्योत्पत्तेः ऊर्ध्वं पृथक् कारणस्य पुनः प्रवेशो अनुपपन्न. So this is the question by the opponent. मृद्वत् च कारणं ब्रह्म तदात्मकत्वात् कार्यस्य कारणम् एव हि कार्यात्मना परिणमते. Now we know that mud is the cause for the pot. So the mud is the karanam or the cause. Pot is the karyam which is the effect. Tad atmagatva karyasya. So mridvat, like the mud entering the pot. Karanam eva hi karyatmana parinamate. It is the cause which itself is now having modified it in the form of pot. So parinama means modification. Parinamate. So the lump of mud itself is now modified to become the pot. Ataha apravishtasya eva karyatpattehe urdham पृथक् कारणस्य पुनः प्रवेशम अनुपपन्न. Therefore, apravishtasya, which is not present, pravishta means existing. Apravishta means which is not existing. Karya utpattehe urdhvam means becoming the pot, before becoming the pot. Karya utpatti means the creation of the effect. Urdhvam means prior to that. So, Karyotpatte Urdhvam means prior to the formation of the pot is apravishtam, means has not had become any existence. So, there is no existence for the pot before it was created. Prithak karanasya puna pravesham anupavanna. So, here, karanasya pravesha. The karanam, which is the lump of mud, now enters separately again as a pot, which is in the nature of mud. That is what is called karanatmana, karyatmana. So the answer is given is na. It is not like that. Nahi ghada parinama vyatirekena mrudo gado pravesho asti. Be attentive very carefully. We all have studied different examples. The same examples are being taken and getting refuted by the Advaiti. So, what has been taught now stands rejected by Advaiti in the ultimate sense. That is why this Upanishad is so important. So, when the lump of mud has become the pot, karanam vyatirekena karyam nasti. Without a cause, there is no effect. We have studied that earlier in this Upanishad itself. Here it is saying that nahi gada parinama vyatirekena mrito gado pravesho asti. Ghada parinama vyadirekena. Without becoming a pot, first, the mud cannot enter the pot. Mrida gade pravesha. So the pot has to come before the mud or lump of mud, so that the lump of mud can enter the pot. Therefore, that example is not valid as per the Advaita. Attend very clearly. When the lump of mud became the pot, it is the mud itself which is now appearing as the pot. We have used this example. So, the question asked by the opponent is that, is it not the Karanam, which is the lump of mud? Now, tadatmagatvat karyasya, in the nature of mud itself, it has entered into the pot. Karanameva hi karyatmana parinamate, is as the nature of the karya, means as the nature of the reality of the pot. So, here aprivishtasya karyat urdve pratak karanasya punah praveshanubhava. That is to be understood very clearly. To enter into something, it has to exist before the entrance. Then only you can enter it. That is known and understood by all of us. So, if the lump of mud has to enter the pot shape without the mud should exist, into which the mud can enter and become a mud pot. Yada gadehe, now that question is being modified by the Purva Pakshi. Yada gadehe churnatmanaha mrido anupraveshaha evam anena atmana nama rupa karye anupraveshaha atmanaha iti chet. Let us understand that the churna or the dust which is in the lump of clay, that is the reality of the lump of clay. Let us not call it as lump of clay. Let us take the Atma of the lump of clay, which is in the form of the dust of mud. Mride anupravesha. It is that Atma of lump of clay which is now becoming the Atma of the clay pot. Because when you crush the lump of clay, you get powder. You crush the lump of the pot, then also you get the powder of mud. In both the cases, the resultant is being the same. So, is it not is it not in the same way, anena atmana, in this nature, this atma, nama rupa karye, the nama rupam, which is the karyam, which is the world, the jagat, anupravesha, atmana hi chet, as atma, which is in the atma, as atma, is now entering into nama rupa as atma. So the nama rupa also has an atma. Every object in the world jagat, including you, me, and everything in this world, we have atma. So that nama rupa karyam means in the form of, or in the effect, which is the name and form, anupravesha. This atma is the one which is now entering in the chet, because he is also quoting a Brihadaranya Upanishad Shrutyantaracha. Means it is there in the elsewhere in the Shruti, anena jivena atmana anupravishya. Anena means atmana, jivena in the form of jiva, atma anupravishya, the atma entered. Iti. So I am giving you, because these are all people who are believing in the Shruti Vakyas, and they consider the Upanishad statements as pramana, or the valid statement. So he is quoting a Brihadaranya Upanishad statement to substantiate his statement that Atma now having become the Nama Rupa, enters the Nama Rupa in the form of Atma itself. So Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha. So Akasha has Atma. That Atma is the Atma of the Atma from which it came. Is it not there? Even in the Brihadaranya Upanishad it is saying that way. Iti na evam yuktam. So Siddhanti Shankaracharya says no. It is not possible. There is no logic for it. Why? Ekatvat Brahmana. Because Atma or Brahman is only one. For that reason, this cannot be valid. Why? Mridatmana vastu anekatvat savayavatvacha yuktoho gade mritchurna atma anupravesha. The lump of mud, vastu anekat, the atma of mud, which is, you said it is in the churna form or the powder form, that anekatvat is multiple in nature. And savayavachva, they are all having parts, because that is how the many parts of the dust, when coming together with little of water, so water is an avayava, the multiple dust particles are avayava. Avayava means particle, which can be taken out as separate from that. So Mrit Atmana Anekatvat Savayavacha. So these are the two things which is available for the Mridatma, means in the Churna. Yuktaha Gataha Mrit Churna Atmana Anupravesha. It is entering into the pot as the Churna, as the dust in the form of Anupravesha. Mrit Churnasya Apravishta Deshatvacha. Mrit Churnasya, the reality of the mrit or the lump of mud which is in the form of dust. Apravishta Deshatvacha. That is now entering because of it has got parts, it has got multitude in it as multiple products in it, and Apravishta Deshatvacha, into a place where a desha means a space where the pot was not existing, into that it is entering. So what is happening is that now the lump of mud, which is in the form of multiple dust and water, is entering into a different location. It is not in the same location as a lump, because what the space occupied the lump is no more the space occupied by the pot, because it has got a different shape and name. So it is a Apravishta Desham, means it's a totally a new place where it is going and becoming. Natu Atmanaha Ekatve Sati Niravayavatvat Apravishta Desha Abhavacha Pravesha Upapadyate. But in the case of Atma, Ekatvam asti. Atma is only one, Atma or Brahman. Ekatve Sati, when it is available as only one, and Niravayavatvad, it doesn't have any parts. Apravishta Desha Abhavacha, there is no absence where it is not present. Apravishta Desha means a desha means a space. Apravishta means where it is not being available. Tasya abhava. Apravishta desha abhavacha. So there is no absence of a place where Atma, which is Ekam, which is not present. Therefore, Pravesha Upapadyecha. Therefore, the entrance of Atma is not valid. So all we learned about mud and the pot gold and ornaments, water and waves, all those examples should run through our mind. And so we have used those examples. That is not valid. When we say that Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat, having created, it entered it. The water, having created the wave without water, now enters the water to become the wave. Is it possible? No. The ornaments, the shape of the ornaments came and the gold enters into the shape of the ornaments. Is it possible? No. Kadam tarhi pravesha syat. So the opponent is asking, then how can the entering the word tadevanupravisat, that pravesha, how can it be possible? Yuktascha praveshaha shrutatvat tadevanupravisat iti. We are saying that it is the Shruti Pramana, it is the sacred saying of the Upanishad that Tadeva Anupravisat. It itself entered. Therefore, there is a pravesha which is being told by the Upanishad. We are accepting that as valid pramana because Shruti is a pramana. The sacred text is a valid document for us to accept it. So the philosopher or the set of philosophies who was talking about the Mrit, Gada, gold ornaments, water and the waves, all of them became quiet. They could not ask any more question because that was their philosophy. Savayava meva astu tarhi savayavatvat muke hastapraveshavat nama rupa karye jivatmananu pravesho yukta eva iti chet. Now there is another question. Let us accept that it is savayava. Brahman is with parts. Let us accept for the time being. Sarhi savayavatvad. Because it has got part. Mukhe hastapraveshat. I am putting my finger or hand into my mouth. That is a form of entrance. Nama rupa karye jivatmana anupravesho yuktaha. In the Brahman, there is a space in the form of name and form inside Brahman itself, because it is now with parts, and the appearance or the name and form is, we said that it is inside Brahman. It is nothing is outside Brahman. So it has to be parts. The Jagat is inside the Brahman. Like all these things are inside the space. So, well, let us say that how we put our hand inside our mouth, Brahman is now entering the name and space, which is again part of itself. Iti chet na ashunya deshatvad. It is not possible. Because inside Brahman, there should be a shunya space. In the mouth, it is a savayava, even though it is an avayava, even though it's a part of my body, there is a emptiness inside my mouth, so I can put my hand inside. But there is no such a situation in the case of Brahman, where there is a shunyatvam inside Brahman, where now Brahman can enter, or Atma can enter. Nahi karyatmana parinatasya nama rupa karya desha vyatirekena atma shunya pradesho asti. Yam praveshet jivatmana. Nahi karyatmana parinatasya. Now in the form of karyatma, in the form of the world of the Jagat, nama rupa karya desha vyatirekena. In the form of name and forms and effect, karya, desha means space. Vetirekena, without these things, Atma Shunyaha Praveshaha Asti. Atma Shunyaha. So there is no space where in the Atma there is a Shunyatam without Nama, Rupa, Karya, Desha, all those things. It is inside Atma, but it is not Shunya. The Nama, Rupa, Desha, Karya, everything in Atma is not Shunya, so that Atma can enter into it. Yam Praveshet Jivatmana, in the form of Jivatma. So there is something that Mamai Vamsho Jivaloke, Jiva Bhuda Sanatanaha. In the Bhagavad Gita also is there. So here that is being refuted, that it is not that Amsha of Brahman enters into Jivatma which was void earlier. Then it enters as Atma, Jivatma. The reason is that Atma, Brahman is omniscient, omnipotent, sarvavyapi. There is no place it is not there. If that is the case, and all these potencies of Brahman and Atma, whereas in the case of Jivatma, the moment the Atma enters the Jivatma, it feels limited, alpaha, alpatnyaha, the other one is sarvatnyaha, then there is all limitations being felt and all those things. Such a thing is what is being discussed here. So what is saying that, now the question is being, karanameva chet praveshyati. Okay, let us not take it savayava. Let us not take it as a parts. As karana itself, as a cause itself. Brahman is the cause and the effect is inside Brahman, and the cause itself is entering into Nama Rupa which is in itself and then becoming a Jivatma. The answer is Jivatmatum Jahyat. In that case, there is no need to tell it as Jivatma. Why do you call it as Jivatma if it is inside Atma and then the Atma is entering inside itself? And why do you want to call it as a Jivatma? Yada Gado Mrit Pravesheo Gadatum Jahati. Just as mud, when it enters the pot, the potness, Gadatvam, the nature of potness will go, because if it will become mud, so the pot is not there, the mud only is there. Mud has now entered the pot, so you cannot say it is what I am seeing is the pot, it is the mud itself. Technically it is mud itself, but it is not the lump of mud which is now the pot. So the Gadatvam Jahadi, the nature with which the pot is remaining for the utility, for storing, for water, etc., which was not possible in the Karanam, the cause as a lump of mud, is now present in the mud. Therefore, we say the pot is real. Even though it is made of mud, it is real because it is being experienced, and it is what is called the pot. If it is mud, then we should not call it as pot. Either you call it as pot or you call it as mud. One of the two only will be the jahatvam jahadi, gadatvam jahadi. Then the pot will be lost. Tadeva anupravisat iticha shruter na karanam anupravesho yuktaha. So tadeva anupravisat is the Shruti Vakya or the word in the Upanishad. So what happens is Shrutehe na karana anupraveshaha yuktaha. In that statement, when the Shruti made the Tadeva anupravishat, Karanam anupravesha yuktaha is not mentioned it. It is spread that Tadeva anupravishat. Shruti didn't say that Tadeva anupravisat doesn't mean karanameva anupravisat na yuktaha. Is not valid. So that is another philosopher gone. Now the next philosopher comes. Karyantarameva syad iti chet. Karyantaram means if it is the one animal is giving birth to its own progeny, human beings are giving life to another progeny. So human beings are producing another human being. So is it karyantaram eva? One karyam, karyantaram eva. Syaditi chet. Is it if we are seeing in the world that tadevanupravisat iti जीवात्म रूपम कार्यम नाम रूप परिणितम कार्यांतरम eva apadyate iti chet. So he is explaining that tadu anupravisat iti, if that is the statement in the Upanishad, जीवात्म रूपम कार्यम. Now the karyam or the effect is in the जीवात्म रूपम. Nama Rupa Parinitam. That Jivatma is Nama Rupa Parinitam. Converted in the name, in the form of name and form. Karyantaram eva apadyate. That is now becoming another Jivatma. So the father is a Jivatma. The son is a Jivatma. Apadyate chet. So the Acharya says, na virodhat. There is a virodha for it. That is not possible. How? Nahi gataha gatantaram apadyate. It is not possible that one pot is giving rise to another pot. A father is giving birth to a child. The father is not becoming another human being to become another karyantaram. The son is not the father itself. No. The son is different from the father. Because both exist at the same time, both are also, separate. So there is a virodha in that karyantaram gadaha gadantaram na apadyate. Vyatireka shruti virodhacha. It is against the shruti statement. Because shruti is not asking that, they saying that the karyantaram vyatireka shruti virodhacha. It is not the way it is accepting it. Jivasya nama rupa karya vyatireka anuvadinyaha shrutayaha virodheran tada apatto moksha asambhavacha. Jivasya nama rupa karya vyatireka anuvadinya shrutayoho virodheran. If we saying that the jiva, the individual soul, Nama Rupa Karya Vyatireka Anuvadinya Shrutayoho Viruddheran. It will be opposing the Shruti by, if you accept Anuvadinya means by repeating that it is Nama Rupa Karya. It is the Jiva itself is creating another Nama Rupa Karya. Vyatireka Anuvadinya Shrutayoho. This is being opposited in the Anvaya Vyatireka method by the Shrutis. Not only that, tada apattau moksha asambhavacha. If that happens, then the moksha cannot happen. Or the liberation, what is being told in the Upanishad and the Shruti, Brahma Sutra, all the places, moksha or the liberation, will asambhavacha, will not happen. Why? What is liberation? Liberation is where we know that we are Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava. Our nature is eternal, Nityaha. Shuddhaha is pure. Muktaha, it is free, always free. And that is our nature. Now, if one jiva is becoming another jiva by parinama, nama rupa, antaram, anupravesa karanam. Due to by entering into another nama rupa, I am bindu now. If I am entering another nama rupa and I am bindu becoming a bindu again in another rupa, this bindu will be there, that other bindu also will be there. That is viroda. That is not possible. So what happens is that then which one, where will the mukti for that bindu will happen, or where will the mukti for this bindu will happen? It is so. Even if this bindu gets mukti, that bindu will not be mukti for, because it is bindu only, nama rupa only, the same thing. So anya nama rupa is not possible. Therefore, jivasya nahi yataha muchyamanaha tadeva apadyate. What that one which has been now eligible for moksha, that is now again becoming the nama rupa, another form. Now, for example, what is he saying? Nahi srinkala apatti baddasya taskaradehe. Taskara means a thief. Baddasya. He is bound by the srinkala or the chain. Now, suppose the chain is a different nama rupa, and the thief is becoming the one which is now thinking that I am bound, and he is becoming the one which is binding himself. That he has become Srinkala. Srinkala upatti, Srinkala apatti, Srinkala apatti, baddasya taskaradehe. That is what the thief is thinking, that I am now bound by myself. So such a case, how can that he can ever get freedom from himself? Because he is always thinking he is bound by this. So there is no problem, no possibility for him to be free from the chain. Even that, since the one jiva thinking that he has now become another jiva, that way the another jiva is becoming third jiva. There will be only jivas which is that one. There will be no form. It will be just like multiple dresses are being worn or multiple chains are being bound by the same thief. But he will never be free from the bondage, or never free from one body or another body. Here Srinkala is to indicate the body, Taskara is to the Jivatma. So he is feeling that he is bound by this body. I am feeling I am bound by this body. By my becoming another Bindu, that Bindu is now bound by another body. So where can there be a moksha or a freedom for the Bindu, for that matter? So that opponent also is becoming quiet. He has no question further. So another one is asking, Bahyandar Bedena Parinamati iti chet? Bahya Andar. Outside and inside. If that is the way it is modifying itself, Tadeva Karanam Brahma Shariradi Shariradhyadharatvena Adharatvena Shariradi Adharatvena Tadeta Jivatmanaha Adeyatvena Cha Parinamati iti chet. So here he is taking the example of outside and inside. Tadeva Karanam Brahma. Now Brahma is the Karanam. Tadeva Shariradi Adharatvena. By depending on the substratum as a body, Tadanda Antaha Jivatmanaha. Inside that Sharira as Jivatma, Adayatvena as the one which is entering into the substratum, Parinamati Dichet. This is something which we have studied everywhere. The Angushtamatra Purusha, from the head of the tip of the head, it entered the body. All these things are, they are all Shastra Vijnas. All of them are studied in Vedas and Upanishad very well. So when they are talking about the examples, they are quoting from keeping the examples which are told in the Upanishad as examples, which we have also heard. So outside, now he is entering through the head or to the body, which is the substratum, as a Atma inside, which is Adeya, or which is being inducted into the body. If that is the way in which it is said, Parinama, if that is the modification, chet, na. Acharya says, na, it is not. Bahishtasya pravesha upapattehe. Bahishtasya, one which is outside, pravesha upapattehe. Au, nahi yaha ya andastaha sa eva tat pravishta uchyate. Bahishtasya anupravesha syat pravesha shabdartasya evam drishtandatvat yada griham krutva pravisati iti. Now, bahishtasya pravesho upapatte. One which is bahishtaha means one is stationed outside. Pravesha upapatte, entrance inside. How it will be? Nahi yaha yasya andastaha sahayeva tat pravishta uchyate. Now you are telling Brahman is there, Nama Rupa is appearing inside. So it is just like you have built a house and you are inside the house. You are already inside the house because it is appearing, the Brahman is there and the Nama Rupa is inside Brahman. And how can it enter? It is not Bahishtaha. It is not outside it. So entrance of the one which is into that is upapatti. It is upapatti means doesn't happen. So what is happening? It is just like that. Yaha yata grihan krutva pravishati. Having built the house, one is entering, is what you are saying. That is not possible because bahishtasya anupravesha syat pravesha shabdartasya evam drishtatvat. There should be non-occupancy inside for something outside to enter. Here we are talking about Brahman, which is yadantaha sa baha, andar bahishcha baha, which is inside, which is outside. Sarvagataha, it is everywhere. So how can it be that this thing? So this example also, which is bahya andar parinamati, that also is not valid. So here comes the very famous example which is always quoted by Advaitins and all the other philosophers also. Jala suryakadi pratibimbavat praveshaha syad iti chet. Suppose suryaka means the sun rays. Jala adi pratibimbavat, inside the water or any reflecting area. Pratibimbavat praveshaha, as a reflection. If it is entering chet, if it is, that is the case. So Acharya says again, na aparchinnatvat amurtatvacha. There are two reasons it is not possible. Aparichinnatvam. Parichinna means limited by something. And murtatvat. What is murta dravyam? Only if it's an object, it can reflect in a medium like water or a mirror or anything. And plus, it has to be parichinna. Parichinna means it can be divided. The sun itself is not entering into the water as a whole. It is part of the rays of the sun which is entering. Even when we look into the mirror, we are not entering the mirror in total. Only what is facing the mirror, that portion of the body is reflected in the mirror. The backside, which is not visible for the mirror, cannot be said to have entered the mirror. That is why we are murti, we are object. So therefore murti. In the case of Brahman, it is not a murta dravyam. Amurta dravyam must be. There is no form for it. Arupam, achintyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, all those things which we have heard. And aparichinna, it is not parichinna vastu like sun has many rays, some of the rays enter the water, we feel that the sun is reflected. Same way when we look at the mirror, we see only the front portion of us reflected in the mirror. We are not entering into the mirror totally. Therefore, parichinnasya, murtasya, anyasya, anyatra, prasada swabhavake, jalatau, suryakadi pratibimba udayaha syad, natu atmanaha amurtatvad. So here, what is he says? Parichinnasya, only which can be divided. Murtasya, which is a murta dravya, means an object which has got a form. Anyasya anyatra, one in another one. Both has to be murta dravya. The one which is being reflecting also has to be murta dravya or the object. One which is getting reflected also has to be an object which is limited, which can be limited in appearance and the form. Then prasamataka swabhavake, the one of the murtis or one of the objects should have a swabhava like water, prasada swabhavaka, means reflecting nature. Then suryakadi pratibimba udayaha syat. Then only the sun's rays can be reflected and appear to be inside the reflecting medium of jalagadi as the water accepted. Natu atmanaha. Atma is neither a murta dravya nor it is parichinna. Amurtatvad. Asadi akashadi karanasya atmanaha vyapakatvad. Now akashadi karanasya atmanaha vyapakatvad. There are two things in this. One is amurtatvad and here vyapakatvad. Atmanaha vyapakatvad. Atma is sarvavyapi. Akashadi karanasya. Wherever there is a karana, the Atma inside that is vyapaka, not parichinna, not limited by the front portion. So my Atma is not only in my front portion which is getting reflected in the mirror. My Atma is sarva vyapaka, vyapakatvam in the entire body. The nature of the sun, the nature of the sun is in the entire sun, not the reflecting rays which are seen inside the water. Therefore, Atma is not a murta dravya like Surya, etc., nor like Akasha, etc. And Vyapakatva, Atmanaha Vyapakatva. It is even in the limited sense we think about it, it is so pervasive in nature, in the Akasha or all the Murta Dravyas also, it cannot be said that Akasha is now entering into as a Pratibimba. No. That Viprakashta Desha Pratibimba Adhara Avastwandara Abhavacha. Viprakashta Desha, in a place where it is not appeared, Pratibimba Adhara Vastuandaram. Pratibimba Adhara Vastuandaram. Means what is the Vastuandaram? Pratibimba Adharam. Where the dependency for reflection. That is the Vastuandaram. So, the mirror in which it is a Viprakrishta Desha, it is a separate space from me, and it has got the Pratibimba reflecting Adharam, potency to or substratum where it can reflect. And Vastuandara, it is a different material. Whereas Tad Atma or Brahman is Abhavasya. Thus, it is not having any of these qualities in Tatman, in the Tad. Pratibimbavat praveshaha na yuktaha. Therefore, the Pratibimbavada of Atma or Brahman is not valid. Because it has to be Viprakrishta Deshaha, it has to be a Pratibimba Adhara Vastu Andara. That is not there. Therefore, these abhavas are definitely in Atman or Atma, because there is no Desha where it is not Prakrishta. So Viprakrishta Desha is gone out. Pratibimba Adhara Vastu Andara, it is not there is no Vastu Andara. There is no object outside Atman or Brahman where it can have a potency to reflect. Therefore, Pratibimba Praveshohana Yuktaha. So even that has been thrown away by Acharya, saying that that is also not acceptable. Evam Tarhi, if that is the case, all the opponents put together are saying that Na eva asti praveshaha. Therefore, we all say that if none of this is valid, then we are saying that there is no pravesha. There is no entering of Brahman Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. Not that Shruti statement is wrong. Nacha Gatyandaram Ubalabhamahe tadevanupravisat iti Shrute. Because this Shruti statement tadevanupravisat Gatyandaram Ubalabhamahe. We cannot find any Gati. There is no way we are able to define that. Therefore, the Shruti Vakya is wrong. It is not a thing. How can Shankara accept that? He is the one which is saying that Shruti Viroda, there is nothing cannot be, you cannot say that Shruti is wrong. Because we are all Astikas. We accept the words of the Shruti as sacred and as a valid means of knowledge. There, how do you all saying that evam tarhi nasti praveshaha tada evanupravisat idi shrutehe gatyandaram upalamahamahe. There is no gatyandaram or there is no gati. There is no means which we can say that gati, there is a way in which it can enter that. Shrutishcha naha mean asmakam, for us. Shruti for us, Atindriya Vishaye Vijnana Utpattehe Nimittam. Shankara says that Naha means for us. Shruti is Atindriya Vishaye. Atindriya Vishaya, which is beyond transcendental knowledge. Atindriya Vishaya means transcendental knowledge. Vijnana Utpattau Nimittam. That is the place which is the cause for having the knowledge of transcendental experiences. Only Upanishad can give rise to transcendental knowledge. Therefore, we have to accept the statement Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. Nacha asmat vakya yat yatnyavatam api vijnanam upavadyate. nacha asmat vakyat. Asmat vakyat. From this statement, yajnavatam api, one who takes effort, vijnanam upapadyet iti na. It is not that one who takes effort by yajna means by means of yukti and vichara and all those things. Asmat vakyat, from this statement, vijnanam upapadyate iti na. It is not that this transcendental knowledge will not arise. So I am not going to accept your statement that iti pravesha nasti. Hanta tarhi anartakatvat apohyametat vakyam Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat iti na. Apohyam means reject. Hantaha means alas, kashtam. Anartakatvat, because the Shruti Vakya is anartaka, without any meaning. Tarhi, if that is the case, apohyat etat vakyam. Which vakyam? Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat iti is to be, apohya means to be rejected. If that is the case, this is what all the opponents put together is making the statement. Shankaracharya is categorically denying that. Na. Anyarthatvad. You people have still not got the right meaning. Anyartha, there is a different meaning for it. All of you are talking about from what you have taken from Indriya Vishayatva. You are considering Atma as an Indriya Vishayatva, as a means of knowledge using sensory and intellectual means. Atindriya Vishayam, Vijnana Upapatti Nimittam. Therefore, there is Anyartham. There has to be a different meaning for this. Kimartam Astane Charcha. So, all the opponents put together thing. In this situation, why should you want to prolong your discussion? Anartham. Prakrito hi anya vivikshito asya vakyartaha asti sasmartavya. So Shankaracharya says that prakritaha. In this context, hi anyaha. Indeed, there is different. Vivikshitaha asya vakyartaha. There is an intended meaning for the statement by Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. Asti iti smartavya, sasmartavya. There is a meaning which is to be remembered. Now, in the next class, we will see what Shankaracharya is establishing, what is the meaning of the word Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. I am stopping the class today because all the opposition's questions have been answered by Shankaracharya by giving the respective reasons why logic is not right. But yet he says that anyartatvat vivikshato asya arthavakyartaha. There is a different intended meaning which you people have not put enough yatnyam, enough thinking to vijnana upapatti, to have the knowledge of that. Let me explain to you. Now he is going to explain that, which we will see it on the Friday's class. I'll stop it here. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Binduji, for guiding us in this particular aspect of Taittareeya Upanishad. So I've opened up the chat and the hand raising. So if you have any questions and any discussion points, please come up. Binduji will be here for another 25 minutes or so.
Hari Om Venkata.
Hari Om Binoji, Hari Om Prakashi. So this has been, I think it is hitting us at the root now. So we'll try to reconfirm some of this, Binoji. This
Please.
that I think the whole dimension taken was right from Namarupa, that the shaping of the pot, the shape appear before occupancy. That was like a brilliant, way to put it, and then take out that understanding altogether. That whole pot happening from the mud. Now, there is this Vekta and Tapas has been told. Now, there are two possibilities now. Take Vekta from that Vishesha, that when we did the Gnanam part, right? That when you remove that Vishesha, that modification, that extra Vritti modification, what remains is Samanya Gnana. You don't need, because this Brahman is Samanya Gnana, it is in everything. And this additional modification coming in the way of understanding, that was the way it was killed. In this Pravesha example also, that each category is getting killed from a point of that Vishesha Gnana, that Vritti Gnana. This logic of eliminating the possibility is now happening for each category, right? One question there is that Avyakruta to Vakruta. Why such a categorical denial happening? Because from this one dimension, Avyakruta, in whichever the way it was, it is simply appearing. Pot as a causal form, now appearing as a pot. It is just that. Why the denial now arising here? Leave it as a Vritti Gnana, no? Why is such a denial now, Binduji?
See, we are not talking about the Vritti Jnana here. That is why you are confusing about it. Here we are talking about how Brahma as a Vastu, as an entity, is entering into the Jivatma, the Atma, Jivatma, or Atma and Jagat. How is this being seen in the eyes of the Upanishad? Because Vritti and Samanya Vritti, Vishesha Vritti and all those things are when we are discussing about the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and all those places. Here we are not even coming into that aspect set. Here the discussion is entirely on two things. That Brahman, Srishtva means having created, Tat Eva, that indeed, Anupravisat, entered. This statement, how it is valid, or how can I take it as a valid statement when I am looking at different possibilities, like all the examples which we discussed, which has been negated by Shankara. And he is saying that it is not the Vakyartha, it is the Vivakshita Artha of the Brahma, means It is not the literal meaning of the Upanishad which we have to take it. We have to take the overall picture, what all the Upanishad has mentioned till now about the nature of Brahman. See, we cannot look the world and go back to Brahman and arrive at what Brahman should be. Then we will never be able to. We have to work out what is the definitions given for Brahman. Starting from Brahma vidapnoti param, Satyajnanam anandam Brahma. Then all those statements which have been mentioned about the nature of Brahman in the Upanishad till now, these have to be taken as the nature of Brahman. While Upanishad is making those statements, Upanishad also has given us the lakshyartha or the intended meaning, vivakshitartha, what we call it as. So that has to be properly understood before we make out any meaning to this statement. It having srishted, having created, it entered itself, entered them. That cannot be understood with the literal meaning of the words. It has to be taken with the intended meaning of that is what, and if that is what, then what does it, the word anupravesha means? How can that have an entrance, or in what way the word entrance has a meaning in this context will have to be totally analyzed from the lakshyartha. Then only we can think. Have we even reached anywhere to know what is the lakshyartha of Satyajnanam Anandam Brahma? If we have got the intended meaning of the nature of Brahman by Satyajnanam Anandam, then it will be easy. What does the Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat makes a statement when it is stated like that. So, if you are looking at that Vishesha Vritti, Samanya Vritti and all those things, those are all functions of the Vijnanamaya Kosha, not of Brahman.
Balaji, this is good, Balaji. But look at the that lakshartha and vakyartha, right? It is giving giving both the possibilities as correct. Now, but with Nyaya, the four categories are brilliantly placed. That Niravayava, Aparichinna. It is nicely placed to deny the why the lakshartha has to be looked at, not the vakyartha. So it is brilliantly placed, to deny any possibility of a vakyartha by looking at the lakshartha. Now, on the other hand, if you take the this whole especially the pravesha, that tadsrushtva tadevanupravisat, if you take this from a vakyartha, it gives certain reality to the entirety, right? It may not be logically, it may not stand the ground by the examples now given. It is functionally seen, right, from even that if you look at the indriya vishaya gnana, right? That whole progeny creation or any of those worldly possibilities, it is showing that entering, becoming alive, all that is from a experiential reality also, from a indriya, it is showing that reality also. Is this misleading altogether, or what is the intention of the that whole creation? Now simply leave it as appearance and that's it. This is one possibility. I'm not saying it's a possibility. That's the true reality. But why so much of this creation discussion altogether? Because this Brahman the whole Brahman's creation is for one to get simply, because locked up in a design. Basically, the whole design is such, is made for one to get caught up in this, like a web, web created for get caught up in it. This whole design is such that, one sees this as a reality, Indriya reality, the sensual reality, and get caught up in it. Is it purposefully done to get caught up in it? It arises that question, right, Binduji? It brings that
Yeah,
question.
well, very valid question. But before getting caught up by the Indriyas and the world and the objects and all those things, who is getting caught up, or what is the nature of the one who is getting caught up? This has to be understood, no? Are you really getting caught up? Why are we all studying this Upanishads? All the Gita, Brahma Sutra, Upanishads, all. What is the purpose of the study? What is the purpose of the study? Moksha only, no? To get freedom from the limitations which we are feeling in our world. Our experiences are proving that we are alpatnyaha, we are limited by knowledge, we are alpajivi, our life is very limited, we are all sorts of limitations by form, knowledge, appearance, access, anything you take, there is a limitation. But the statement by the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra Gita is that Tad Tvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. All those statements then becomes futile and what you call blasphemous from the point of view of the reality. If we are not able to live up to understand and make it our own. So mukti, or the freedom of the sensual organs or the body limitations or the individuality or the ego, has to be broken. How will you break that bondage of these limitations? Only when we know what our true nature is there. For that the Upanishad says, Tatsrushtva tadevanupravisat. That Atma having created is now in the entire creation. So, we are not talking about Sarvatma Bhava alone here. There is only Tad. Tad Trushtva, Tad Eva Anupravishat. So there is only Tad available. That Tad is Yum, Tad Tvamasi. That Tad is one will become Tvam only when that Tad Anupravishta Tad both are the same only. It is the one which is creating and one is which is now as the created. Having done the thing, is the created different from the one who creates? Or is what way should we understand so that I feel that I am not the limited individual anymore? The freedom for the limitation. How can I happen? The mukti. How can I achieve that? Is the purpose of studying that. So anything which where you are feeling that it is not taking me towards mukti, that means I am not clear about what I have been taught till now, or my understanding is not clear because I am still thinking I have a limitation. All those things should prompt you to know who you are.
Yes, Binduji, I think increasingly it is like a cloth, put on a thorny bush. How carefully this cloth can be removed.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
This
is feeling is like that only.
Yeah, this aparichinna, that reflected consciousness all along. Now, the clarity given, it is just one phase of it is getting reflected, right?
Yes.
And you are not even seeing your whole self in the mirror. That's a nice way to, you know, pull you
Yeah,
out.
actually, Pratibhivavada is being propagated like anything by anybody, all the people, all the Advaitins.
Yeah.
But initial stages to get attracted and to bring them to a feeling that yes, I can be the unlimited, the true nature of Atma and everything is the one which is it can be useful. But when you come to Taittareeya Upanishad, then especially this dialogue between Shadi Shankara and the opponents, the Purvapakshins, all examples which we were talking till now, whether it is mud, gold, ornaments, water and waves, everything has been thrown out through the window out. There goes all the examples. Which
I know.
example can we say?
No,
There
no,
is no example we can take.
yeah, it's all killed. Even the mud pot is killed. This whole reflected consciousness is killed. I don't know how many are left now. So this is a thorny bush only, Vidaji. I think we'll see where it will take us.
Yes, Venkat. Wait. We'll get the answer. See, the very purpose of me articulating exactly the words of Shankara is for the purpose that we have never thought that our thinking is wrong. Till now, until Shankara brings up these aspects and throws our all beliefs are now destabilized. We cannot even think that any one of them is right. So we have to take a Sharanagati, fall at the feet of Shankara. Please tell. We are not able to see the real intended meaning or lakshyartha or vivakshidartha. Please, as a guru, param guru, please guide us, show us the way. That's the only way we can do it. Our intellects have limitation. We are not taught as much as Shankara has taught. We cannot look. You can imagine the intellectual capacity of Adi Shankara when he brought in this, and even after 2,000 years odd, it is still the most sought after philosophy in the world. Among the ancient philosophies which are valid, Buddhism is there, which is to an extent has done half the job and left it. They didn't complete it. But Shankara went beyond. He has borrowed a lot of things from Buddhism because those days philosophy means to improve upon somebody. So after Adi Shankara, the Vishishtadvaita came, the Dvaita came, but they deviated from the Advaita, but were not able to bring exactly these. Now, if you look at the Vishishtadvaita or Dvaita, these answers opponents when they think Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke is the Dvaita philosophy. That has gone. It cannot be an Amsha. How can it be an Amsha? It is also thrown out. No? So you will find that the subsequent philosophers whom have got followers was mainly because of faith in the God and they cannot accept Brahman as Nirguna, Nirakara. That is the reason why they became popular. Not because they could defeat Shankara in the logic. The logic and the experience. Shankara himself says that if it doesn't satisfy your logic, and if it is not your experience, don't accept even my statement. Even the Shruti says it is midnight in the afternoon. How can anybody accept it? It will be as good as that. So don't accept it. It is possible. You have to apply your logic and you have to experience it with your own. When your logic becomes your experience, you will not have to look for anywhere else for the opinion. That is what he said.
Shravandaji. It is shaking all the foundation now. So,
Yeah. Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste, Bindoji. A very hard nut to crack now. Until you come to the presentation of Shankaracharya, how the Tanupravishanti happens, it is a mind-boggling thing. Today, to be frank, I couldn't uh, comprehend certain things. I will go to I'll again listen to. But the thing is, how could now all the popular examples which have been the like the they are the supporting aspects for all the logic all through. Now they are all getting refuted, as you said. They are all thrown out now, and that's a very difficult thing to embrace. We have been sailing through those examples so far, and now all of them are getting almost shattered.
Yes. Because all those examples had validity for certain aspects of explanation of Advaita. But for the moksha anubhava, those examples will not give you moksha. You have to understand the ananyatva, the non-differential nature between the creator and the created. That only will set you free. Any amount of, in this Upanishad it will come, idara mantaram kurute adatasya bhayam bhavati. Even if you think there is an iota of difference between the creator and myself, however much you can associate with him, but if you still have a doubt of even for the speck of a mustard seed, then you are not free. That is what the Upanishad, this particular Upanishad is driving us to. So for that, Shankara had to negate all the popular examples so that we don't cling to that and remain. The most common thing which most people are thinking is water and the waves and water. The other one is like the space and the, this thing, the Amrit and the Gada, or the, Pratibhimbavada or Parishinnavada, this. All those examples are good to certain extent,
But
but
insufficient for moksha.
insufficient for you to give moksha or the liberation which you are looking for. You will gather logical, you will be thinking able to do it in a right way. You will arrive at, and you may feel even elated having come closer to the reality. You may feel that elation, that bliss and happiness and all those things. But it will not let you free from thinking that you are the human being. That will hang on to you unless that is understood and becomes your experience. Then you will say Aham Brahmasmi.
I'm just recalling my younger days, like when we were in college, applying this one Tattva Aham Brahmasmi in the most stupid manners, all that we could do. And how the same application started with little more seriousness as the age progressed. And now, as Venkat put it correctly, it is just like a fine cloth on the thorny bush that the Jivatma is suffering. I fell on the thorns and bleed, as Shelley, a great English poet, had put. And that's what I'm just reminded of. And your words should show some clarity in the future classes for these things. And again, as you said, until it becomes our own experience, only Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana should be continuously done, I feel. So there is no way out for this. And the more and more we do, and more that conviction shines in our minds, I feel. Thank you, Bindoji.
Thank you, Ganesh. Anybody else? Otherwise, we'll close. Prakash.
Shall we close, Binduji?
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like there's nobody else. But
Yeah.
thank you, Venkatji and Ganeshji, for coming up and engaging in a very interesting, in-depth discussion on the aspect of letting go of any model to arrive at the meaning. So it's very profound. So thank you. And for all the members in the audience, thank you for coming for the session. And as a reminder, these replays are available. So if you want to do the Sravana Manana, which allows you to kind of embody that as like what Bindoji was referring to as your own experience through logic, then that resolve will be without any doubt. So again, thank you for coming. So as I've mentioned earlier, the replays are available on YouTube. Advaita Retold, I pasted the link. So if you go to replays and you can access the link, or you can come into Clubhouse and listen to replays. And with that, over to Bindoji. So our next class is on Friday, same time at 8:30 IST. And we have a Q&A on Sunday, same time. So we welcome you all back on Friday and then following Sunday. Thank you very much. Over to Bindoji.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Venkat and Ganesh, for your questions. And thank you all for being there and listening to this. Please listen to the replay again before coming for Friday's class so that you have a continuity on the topic which we will be discussing. And if you have doubt, please do not hesitate. Please come up and ask, or you can message me through my email or back channel, whatever it's, or on Sunday Q&A, anywhere it's possible. Thank you all once again. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night.
Very good night.